Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. Today I'm going to be sharing my January goals with you, so let's get started. Okay guys, so I'm posting this later than I had hoped. I really wanted it to go up on January 1st, and unfortunately that did not happen. I did have my goals done before January 1st, which is really good. I'm pleased about that, but I did not get a chance to film this video until right before New Year's Eve. And so it is going up later than I had hoped, but I am excited to share it with you. I have not been in the Power Sheets for monthly tending list planning for about a year and a half, and I've shared about that a lot. I share my goals every month, and I've been setting up my goal action plans in my Erin Condren Life Planner for the past year and a half. Before that, I was using the Power Sheets, and since 2015, I think. And this year, I'm really excited because they have this break it down page, and that was one of the reasons that I jumped back into the Power Sheets for 2024. However, I think that I'm either a little too optimistic, or maybe I'm looking at this break it down section as more of these mini goal action plans, which, yeah, so we will see. This is like a first time through with these break it down pages. I was really excited about these break it down pages because I am looking at this goal as a project and not as my 2024 goal and what are the steps that I'm going to work on this year. So I have quite a bit in here. We'll see how it goes. I wasn't entirely sure how this would translate to this side, so I almost have 2 pages that I'm working off of for my tending list for January. So some of this will sound familiar if you watched my Q1 goals video, which I will leave linked in the description box. Some of it will sound familiar if you watch my 2024 goals video, because I did go into a little bit more detail about what those goals mean for me in the coming year. But what I'm going to do is just go through this break it down page first and then go through my tending list. So the first project that I have is to declutter, and I want to do the kids' rooms, and I do have a date. I'd like it to be done before this weekend, when we'll be taking down our Christmas decorations and getting everything situated before we start school again on the 8th. That's my hope. We shall see. Kids' clothes is another declutter item. Then I have the unfinished basement and finished basement sections, but I just want to do the easy stuff, and that's going to be like what I would consider trash. There are a lot of old cans down there that the kids use for Nerf gun target practice, and a lot of just paper and craft stuff that has been out during the month of December as they worked on projects and all kinds of other things when we weren't doing our in-depth homeschool for the month of December. I'd also like to go through the entryway closet and our winter gear. I have had so much trouble finding boots for Jack. We've gone to several stores. He's in between the largest boys size and the smallest men's size, and I've not been able to find any like women's size shoes that fit him well. It's been a real struggle for me. So I need to make sure that I have all of the winter gear figured out. And then the last place that I want to declutter is our pantry. We have just a ton of stuff from baking and things around the holidays that I just need to go through, wipe down all the cabinet shelves and reorganize things and kind of get rid of some things that maybe we don't need anymore. The next project that I have is a TBR, and you'll notice that this has 2 color flags because it does fall under my Pursuing Passions goal, which is also a homeschool related goal, and then my personal goal of creating a rhythm of renewal. So I want to create a Q1 fiction TBR, a Q1 nonfiction TBR. I want to go through and do new releases and put them in my book journal, which I have actually started doing that, and I will leave a link for my book journal setup for you so that you can see how I've set up my book journal for 2024, and I talk a little bit more about books that I'm interested in reading. I also want to make a list of rereads. I am I read a lot of books, and oftentimes I will reread books that are very helpful for me, especially at the beginning of the year. Those are more nonfiction books, things like Essentialism, things like The One Thing, things like Atomic Habits and the 12-Week Year, I reread in December. So all of those productivity type books are really encouraging to me at the beginning of a new year. And so I do tend to have some rereads. Also, the new Crescent City book is coming out at the end of January. And so I'm trying to reread all of the Sarah J. Maas books. I'm on book 2 of Throne of Glass right now, so I may need to take some help from audiobooks if I want to get all of the books done before January 30th. I'd also like to go through and annotate Crescent City 1 and 2 before Crescent City 3 comes out. I don't know how. That might be too lofty a goal at the moment. Homeschool plans, I need to plan out our first 6-week session, which starts on the 8th. So I need to get that done this week. And then vision boards. And vision boards, that's a project that I do with my kids. The first week in January every year, it is a time for me to kind of write down some things and have some pictures that are encouraging to me, as well as figure out some passion projects and things that my kids want to work on throughout the year. And I use that as I start to think ahead to the next homeschool year of things that my kids want to do. For instance, in January of 2023, he put on his vision board that he wanted to learn Japanese. And so in the fall of 2023, when we started school, he started Japanese 1 for high school for his language. And so it helps me to plan out what I want my kids to do in the coming homeschool year. The next project that I have is a tech detox. I want to unfollow and unsubscribe as much as possible, not because I am feeling bad about what I'm seeing on social media. I know that a lot of people will have that FOMO. I don't have that issue with social media, but I just follow so many people and I don't need to. So I want to figure out a way to easily unfollow people, mainly on Facebook. I don't know how to do that easily. Instagram, I did. I took about 30 minutes and I went through and I unfollowed about 500 people. Not because I don't like them, but just because I didn't need to follow those people. If you have ideas on how I can do that for Facebook, please let me know, because the only thing that I can seem to figure out is that I have to go into each individual page and unfollow them, and that just takes so much time. It seems like a waste of time for me. I would rather just not even get onto Facebook at all than try and do that. So maybe there's an app or something that will crawl all of my Facebook pages and will unfollow everything. I want to reread the TechWise Family and then also do a read aloud of the TechWise Life with my kids. I don't know if that will actually be in January, that read aloud, because I do have a couple other books that I'm also reading with the kids. I try to do personal development type books with the kids. My older two, specifically, last year we read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which was really good. I'm going through a college and career book with Emma and a life skills book with both Emma and Jack. And then I want to also look at the day, weekend, week, month limits for tech where we're just totally off of screens. I need to kind of figure that out. Think about screen and app limits for myself, see if I really need to implement something like that or have some sort of system. Again, I don't feel like I'm on social media personally too much, but I do spend a lot of time on social media for my business, and so I kind of want to do that mainly either in the morning or the evening and not have it be something that I'm doing throughout the day when I'm really trying to focus on homeschooling. And then I also want to re-implement Sabbath rest for myself, and hopefully my family will get on board with that as well. I used to be really, really good about no screens on Sundays until the evenings when we would watch like a family movie or football or whatnot. But I kind of got out of that habit in 2020, and I have started being better about it towards the end of 2023, but I really want to do better with that Sabbath rest in 2024. The next goal is also part of my Rhythms of Renewal goal, and that is simplify. What does that mean for Q1 in January? I just kind of need to reflect on that. I want to revisit my yes and no list. I did write out my yes and no list in here already, but I want to kind of go through a few more things and just make some decisions on some different areas of my life that I think that I said yes to a couple of things in 2023 that I really ought to have said no to. And so I may need to just say a hard no to those things for 2024. We will see. I also would like to go through and figure out a rule of life. This seems very similar to me, to like my mission statement or purpose statement that I have. I created one a long time ago, and it's still very applicable today. It doesn't change. It's open enough to grow with me, which is good. But I did read a couple of books recently. Rule of Life is one of them. I cannot remember the author's name. And then another one was Habits of the Household, I believe, that referred to this Rule of Life book. I will leave those two books linked in the description box. Both are really, really good. The Rule of Life book came out maybe 10, 12 years ago, and then the Habits of the Household came out in the past couple of years, I think. Both are really good, so I'm really excited about that. The next goal is nurture finances, and so I need to do my 2023 end of year reports and set up my 2024 financial planner, which I've actually already done, and I will have a video of that soon. I need to have a finance meeting with my husband about 2024, figure out spend categories for 2024 and the budget amounts with them, which relates to my end of year reporting, and then some savings goals, figuring out some savings goals for the year. The last break it down section is my legacy goal. I want to take one picture every day. I want to start that as a habit in January. We will see. I also want to take 5 minutes to delete old pictures starting in January, hopefully every day. We will see. I'd like to journal to my kids weekly and then clean out my filing cabinet and organize it. This has just a bunch of junk in it, and it kind of does go with my declutter goal as well, but and also my finance goal. A lot of my goals, I said this in my Q1 goals video as well, are all interconnected this year. They could go, there are many projects that could go under multiple goals, and I kind of like that they're all interconnected. It means that I'm on the right path, that I'm making the right choices for the priorities that I've set for myself. So those are all the breakdown sections. Now let's get to my tending list for January. The encouraging words that I chose for January is there is nothing magical about January 1st. The reason that I did this was because I started doing my tending list and January prep when we had no power. And I realized that a lot of the things that I had hoped to do before January 1st were going to get pushed off until after the start of the year. And so I had to accept that. There's nothing that I can change about that. I just don't have enough hours in the day to make sure that all of those things are done ahead of time. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And my priority for January is to reset and simplify. January is a great time to reset. It's going to reset all of our rhythms. A lot of our rhythms kind of go out the window in from Thanksgiving to New Year's, just because we have so much holiday stuff, so many parties, extra activities, and fun things that we do outside of our normal day-to-day. So a lot of our normal rhythms just get put on the back burner. So re-implementing what has worked for us in the past is a priority, and just resetting those rhythms, especially related to homeschool, because we've been off now for 6 weeks. And simplify, because simplify is my word of the year, my theme for the year. So I just need to make sure that I'm keeping that at the front of my mind. So I did white out some of these labels that they have, because I like to think of these as monthly projects weekly rhythms, and then daily habits. That's kind of how I set things up in my brain. That's what works for me, but obviously you can do it however you want. So the first thing that I have is planner set up for my home planner, daily financial book planner. I have done my book journal and my financial planner already, and I am almost done with my home planner. So that's really good. I did just purchase a new planner from Sterling Inc. called the Common Planner. I've never heard of this company before, but I saw several videos on YouTube over the past few days and ordered that planner because it has monthly, weekly, and daily pages in it. I haven't received it yet, so I may be changing up some of my planning systems for 2024. We will see when it comes. The next monthly project is six-week homeschool plan, which I need to do, my TBR, our vision boards. Then I have for my finance goal, 2023 end of year reports, 2024 finance meeting with my husband. The next monthly project is declutter, and I just wrote declutter even though I have all of these things that I want to declutter. I couldn't list all of these things over here or I wouldn't have enough space. So I will look at declutter and then I will come over here and see, okay, how much time do I have? Which kid isn't busy at the moment? Which room can we go through together? And that's kind of how I'm pairing these two pages. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what I'm doing. The next one is tech detox. Again, that is this section right here. So even though this is just one project, I will just mark off a little bit each time I get one of these things decided or done or implemented. The next monthly project is Simplify Rule of Life, and that is really just for me to go through and figure out what this means for me. Going back and revisiting that book that I read last year and probably taking it out from the library because I read it on Kindle, like I borrowed an ebook, but it's a book that I need to have a physical book and take notes on. That's how I prefer to read nonfiction books, really take notes. I'm very academic that way. So I need to find that book in print form. Hopefully my library has it. If not, then I will probably purchase it just so that I can go through and do the steps. The next monthly project that I have is my monthly reset, which is going to be January 25th. I write down the date and I write it on my calendar to make sure that I actually do it. Very important to me. I also have a whole playlist of monthly resets. If you're interested, I will leave that link in the description box. And then the last monthly project is to consider my time blocks and adjust for the season ahead. I did start working on the weekly rhythm ideas section briefly, but and I did it all in pencil, and I think I'm actually going to print out my own because I have like a printable with time blocks on it for my own time block building. I'm going to print one out and really focus on that the first week in January, and then I will come back and highlight the different time blocks in the weekly rhythms section in the power sheets. Okay, so the weekly rhythms section, I have weekly planning, which I love to do Sunday planning. It's very important. The weekly project, the home planner has 52 weekly projects. And so I do kind of adjust them a little bit depending on the time that I have for the coming week and what I find I need to do first type of thing. So I want to go through and make sure that I'm doing the weekly projects. I need to do homeschool planning, which is another thing that I do on Sundays. My homeschool planning goes much better when I do it on Sundays than if I wait and do it on Monday morning. And each week is a little bit different because depending on what we have going on outside the house. And that's kind of how I manage my homeschool planning. If we have a lot going on outside of the house, then I kind of adjust how things will be for the week so that I'm not planning too much and feel behind, quote unquote, behind in our work. I just make sure that I'm understanding the amount of time we have in the week ahead, that makes it much easier for me. The next weekly rhythm I have is spend tracking. I've not done a great job around Christmas. The next thing on my weekly rhythms is our Monday meeting, which I do with the kids, and I'm hoping to incorporate the family workbook from Cultivate What Matters into that Monday meeting. I haven't started working on that yet, and I didn't write it down, but I am hoping to start working on that family workbook the first week in January, so that as we get into our Monday meeting starting January 8th, I will have some things listed out for the kids. The next thing is kids' journals, and I talked about that a little bit already. I just want to make sure that I'm writing in their journals each week. I would like to do each kid once a week, but we might just start with once a week I write in the journals and alternate kids each week. We will see. And then update my book journal and notes and quotes. I want to make sure that I'm taking time weekly to do that, because I will forget books that I've read. I will forget quotes that I've liked. I will move on to something else, and then won't be able to write a good review in my book journal. So if I'm doing that weekly, I think that will be good. Then the last section is daily habits, and I don't have a ton on here for January. First is my AM routine tier 2, which again, I will leave my AM routine, my 3-tier AM routine video linked in the description box. I 99% of the time do tier 1, which is coffee, Bible reading, planning out my day. And then tier 2 is more Bible study, more nonfiction reading. I just have a list of other things, some other guided journals that I do, and I want to get back into doing that every day as well. My mornings have been pretty relaxed as of the past 6 weeks, because we've been on homeschool break. So I'm not really having to focus too much on getting things done by a certain time, because we have to move into our homeschool block of the day, time block of the day. But once we start homeschool again, obviously I'm going to have limited time in the morning to get things done, and I need to make sure that I am prioritizing what I find important. The next daily habit that I have is something that I've done a few times in the past. I think maybe the first time I did it was in 2013. And it's like this 1 bag a day, where I just get rid of 1 bag of stuff a day. And it doesn't have to be a garbage bag. It can be, just a small grocery bag. But the goal is to get the house cleaned out. And so to get rid of a bag of stuff each day. So my goal for January is to do 1 bag a day. We will see how it goes. I think I'll actually be able to do that pretty easily because of all the declutter projects that I have in January. So we will see. The next daily habit is pause. I talked about this a lot the last quarter of 2023. I set an alarm for 1 p.m. where I wanted to stop all of the work and the to-do lists and the homeschool stuff, and just take some time to sit and refresh myself. And so pause is to actually do that, to take a breath and stop what I'm doing, but also to take a little bit of time to work on a project, so it falls into my passion projects and, book reading or knitting projects, or something fun, memory keeping, something like that. And it relates to my 1 hobby project per day, which is the habit right underneath pause. So I'm hoping to combine the 2 of those things, where I set an alarm to stop and then take some time to do something fun for myself. It's really hard for me to stop in the middle of a to-do list, but I'm hoping that all of the chore charts and other systems that I'm implementing will help me to be able to take a little bit more time. So those are my January goals. Seems a little lofty. We will see how much actually gets done. I may have bitten off more than I can chew for January, which I don't recommend. I recommend starting small and starting slow, but I have a lot of stuff that I want to get done, and I feel like I need to get all of this stuff done before I can move to more fun things throughout 2024. So we'll cross our fingers. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.